you about this little temple now. We call this little temple the seashell temple. Because like you can see above on the top, it has a seashell there. You see? The seashell that is on the top, it was used like a guide or like a lighthouse. Because with the sound of the seashell, the Mayans that stay here on the island, they knew when the weather could be good or bad. It was depending on the sound of the seashell. The history explained that when the wind blew, enter toward the windows and they were in the hull of the seashell, producing different air, different sound. So in this case, they knew when the weather could be good or bad, depending on the direction of the wind and depending on the sound of the seashell. It was the weather channel for the Mayas. If you want to see the original of this, it's here on the island, the original, going to the south side of the island, where it's actually our lighthouse, going to the south, there is the original of this.
Big old blackbird. Different time than we got.
The old statues that we had seen, remember, were Mayas. Now we are entering another area of Mexico with Olmecs. You remember Olmecs? The first, the oldest civilization. We have found about 17 statues like that. 17, only in the area of the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Thanks to the studios about these kind of rocks, we can say today that the Olmecs, they were the first. Because when the archaeologists were making studios about these kind of rocks, they discovered that these were built around 1800 to 1600 BC, before Christ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the play ball game in our different cultures?
The what?
Play ball?
Play ball. You didn't hear before about this? Let me tell you. In this area, in Mesoamerica, we have a special tree. We call this tree zapote tree. Inside of this tree, we can get with the resin of this chicle, gum, with the resin, you know. And our indigenous people, they were taking this resin and they were making the traditional ball for making the ball, for playing the ball game. But they don't use the feet and not the hands, only with this part of the body, with the hip. They were wearing like a bell with the leather of the animal and they were hitting the ball. Okay? If you want to go someday to Chichen Itza, you will find there the largest field where they were playing the traditional ball game, the Mayas. There are some rings of rocks where they were crossing the ball. This is very famous. In this case, the history explains that sometimes they were 4 or 7 people in each team, one against the other, like it's now. The team that lost the game, the captain of that team, he was sacrificed. Nice
The loser.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Let me
better
tell-
not lose.
Let me tell you, in this case, I am telling you about this because this is a player ball. From Olmecs, they were playing the traditional ball game. We have found more than 1,000 different fields where they were playing the traditional ball game, divided in the different archaeological sites in all Mesoamerica. But the largest and the most famous is in Chichen Itza.
Is this the way the area would look around the ruins as far as the fossil
Jungle area.
This other one, this other colossal head, the fiscal traits in the eyes, sometimes are very similar of the Asiatic people, Chinese. Maybe they came from Bering Strait, you remember, from the north. But the nose and the mouth sometimes are very similar of the African people. This causes discussion among the archaeologists because many archaeologists, they believe now maybe we are descendants of the Africans for the Pangea history. You remember Pangea history? Separation of all continents many years before. What is now Brazil, Argentina, it was like a connection with the African continent. And maybe they were coming from the south, the primitive people, and later they were forming these civilizations. Many geologists and anthropologists, they sustain today these different theories. Bering Strait or African continent. These are two of the most famous theories now. But remember, these are only theories. We don't know about the origin of these different cultures. Sometimes these colossal heads were bigger and very heavy. Sometimes these were about 40 tons each one. How was possible the transportation of these kind of rocks? In the area where these were found in the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, remember the Olmec area, we don't have this kind of rock originally from there. So it was brought, it was moved in this area. But how was possible? If they hadn't wheels, no machines, no domestic animals, and these were very heavy. Only a piece of rock, monolithic rocks, you know. How was possible the transportation? It's a mystery today. And this is a mystery that remains in different cultures of the world. Like in the Egyptian people, in the ceramics, Inca in Peru, England. If you want to take a picture together here, I can go to the other side. I can take you a picture together if you want. You want a picture together?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You want a picture together, Carly?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can ask that right there and then take a picture.
I had it on pause. I didn't get that waterfall.
Let that lady back.
Iguana. Sometimes we have some iguana climbing in the trees or walking around a
You
bit
do? Watch the trees, James.
No, let them surprise her like that stingray did
This
yesterday.
is wild orchid.
Oh, I wish I could take some home.
The month of September, October, in this epoch, we can see how it blooms.
Oh, that would be gorgeous,
Wild
wouldn't it?
orchid.
Mhm.
Oaxaca, you remember Oaxaca area? There is now Guerrero, Acapulco, where are these places? There are the originals of these other statues. Remember that area, Oaxaca area, it was inhabited by Zapotec and Mixtec.
Look at that.
Remember these kind of chacmol were built in the civilization? This is Purépecha chacmol on the western side of Mexico. Purépecha chacmol. Like you remember I told you in the ancient way about the Maya chacmol. These kind of statues were always built in different cultures, but with different shape because in this case each civilization they had different architecture. But always were for putting their offerings for their god. You remember the rain god by Maya, Shah, Toltecs and Aztecs,
the
they
dog.
call this Tlaloc, the name of the rain god by Toltecs and Aztecs, Tlaloc. For the Mayas it was Shah. In this case this is Tlaloc, the name of the rain god. We are entering now in the area what is now Mexico City and around of Mexico City, you remember. Toltecs and Aztecs, they live in this area. These are very famous in Mexico. The originals of these are from Tula Hidalgo. Tula Hidalgo is other famous archaeological site close of Mexico City. It was inhabited by Toltecs. The history explains when the Toltecs built these kind of statues, they used these like columns or supports for the roof of their temples. In Tula Hidalgo, there are the originals. Be ready because we are going to the final and I will give you a test.
Oh.
If you don't answer
I
the
failed all my
question, you
tests.
will be sacrificed.
Oh. Go ahead and do it.
Looks like you got your wish, huh?
Move.
There is another one, the wind god in the belief of the Aztecs.
Wind, W-I-N-D.
Wind god. In the Aztecs, when they built this kind of statue, they put on his face a mask with a deformation. It was for the bad weather, for the bad winds, in the belief of the Aztec civilization. Ejecatl, the name of the wind god. The original of this is in the National Museum of Anthropology and History in Mexico City, the largest museum that we have in Mexico. Sometimes you can spend 3 or 4 days to visit the whole museum. It's huge. So are you ready for the test? Or are you ready for the human sacrifice?
Might as well sacrifice.
We don't have time for a test. Let's do the sacrifice.
What was the most important activity for our different civilizations?
The ceremonies.
Somebody say yesterday, sex. You don't remember? Why the rain god it was very important for them?
For agriculture?
Exactly. The agriculture it was the most important activity for our different civilizations. Who were the oldest, the first civilization in Mexico?
Maya.
No, Olmecs.
Olmecs, exactly. Very good. You have saved your head.
I needed a while longer.
Who were the most developed civilization?
I don't know. Aztecs.
The most developed civilization. Who were? Like you remember, I told you they were very good for the astronomy, mathematics,
Aztec.
medicine plants, hieroglyphic symbols, architecture. They were very good in different fields. What is the name of the civilization that lived here in this area, in the island of Cozumel? You don't know?
We're not very good at this.
Mayas.
Mayas.
We
Oh,
are in the
hey,
Mayan
I
area
forgot.
now.
Yeah.
Like you remember I told you about fertility goddess or moon goddess by the Mayas, Ixchel. This is the fertility goddess or moon goddess by Aztecs. This is the representation of a lady in this position. We have the right hand, her fingers, her left hand, her fingers, her head. She's wearing like a hat with plumes, with feathers. Her naked chest, she's wearing like a bell with a human skull, the right leg, the right foot, her left leg, the other foot. It's in this position. It was found in Mexico City. This is Aztec. All of these statues that are now here are Aztecs. Okay? And in this case, it was found when our Mexican people were making excavations to fix the cables of the subway in Mexico City, the main square of Mexico City. It was found there in 1978, about 22 years ago. This is one of the last statues we have found there. This is another one, another famous statue, Coatlicue. Coatlicue, she was the mother of the universe, the mother of the sun, the mother of the moon, the mother of the stars, the mother of all universe in the belief of the Aztec civilization. Coatlicue. And she looks like Medusa. Do you remember Medusa in the mythology of the Greeks? Because around of her skirt, Coatlicue, she has different snakes, many snakes around of her skirt. Also on the top, she has 2 heads of snakes, one in front by the other. Okay? This is Coatlicue, the mother of the universe in the belief of the Aztec civilization. In our different civilizations in Mexico, they worship 3 kinds of animals: eagles, jaguars, or snakes. So when they went to the war for fighting, sometimes they were wearing the typical dress in the shape of these kind of animals. It was to show the powerful of their own people. Let me show you this last statue. This would be the last in this area. They are missing the tour. Aztec calendar or sunstone. At the center of this statue, you can find a face there. That's the face of Tonatiuh. Tonatiuh, he was the sun god in the belief of the Aztecs. Around we have 4 squares. Each square it was the representation for each season: spring, summer, fall, winter. A little more around, if you want to count these other little squares, we have 20 little squares. Each of these little squares it was the representation for each day. They believed in that time that they had 18 months with 20 days each. 18 by 20, it was 360, and they had 5 sacred days. so it was 365, similar at our Gregorian calendar. Have you been to Chichen Itza or not yet? You remember I told you the Mayans, they were the most developed civilizations. They were the first who invented the first calendar. If you want to go someday to Chichen Itza, you will find one of the different proof of the Mayan calendar. I think you have seen this before in magazines or television. Get an idea that this is the main temple of Chichen Itza. When the Mayans built this temple, they built this thinking about the Mayan calendar. Because in each body of the temple, the Mayans, they built these stairways with 91 steps in each body. But we have 4 bodies in this temple because it's a pyramidal structure. 91 by 4, we have 364 steps around. And one more on the top, this is 365. Each step, it was a representation for each day of the year. 9 steps here and 9 in this order. In each page we have 18, the number of the months. They had 18 months with 20 days each. Remember this, okay? And the most famous, the most amazing that is happening there is in March 21st or September 22nd. Have you heard before about the equinox? This is when the sun is passing in one hemisphere by the other. Only in this body of the temple, the Mayans, they built here a head of a snake, where only in these 2 dates of the year, March 21st or September 22nd, you can see how it's appearing as sunlight with a combination of a shadow, little by little, forming the body of the snake. When it's the combination of the head of a snake, it looks like a complete snake. This is happening in Chichen Itza on March 21st or September 22nd. Okay?
22nd?
March 21st and September 22nd.
Okay.
The beginning of the spring and the beginning of the fall. We have finished the tour, friends. This is one of the different proofs that we can see that the Mayans, they were really very good for these different fields. Architecture, astronomy, medicine plants. This is the finish of the tour.
Thank you. Look at the beans up there.
Yeah, I picked one up one of those like that, like waxing.
Yeah,
You believe that?
it does.
Yeah. Get one of these broke.
Oh, that's all right.
What?
A seed. Kind of seed in it. Yeah, it's a seed.
Well, I had.
It's like the mimosa seed. jeszcze mogę ubrać, mam beżowe długie spodnie, nie kapy, a beżowe spodnie. Tak, beżowy ten bluzeczek.
You talking to it?
Mm-mm.
Tell them what to do.
I'm family.
Leaving Cozumel.
Bye, Mexico.
Headed for Louisiana
At 4:16.
and Sailorland. Get in my car and come home. I'm tired. Hey, we're gonna get rain.
It might get rough on the way home.
Is that guy dead over there?
No,
Oh, he finally moved it on.
the lady, she's sunbathing.
That's a lady?
It's a lady. Something fell over there. I see it floating in the water. It's right over there. When I try to zoom in on something, it gets so wobbly till I can't.
Really?
Well, the wind too is just blowing hard against it, and I can't hold it still enough.
Get the room, take the boat down, look and see.
I hope I haven't ruined it.
Have it out here in the salt there?
No,
don't get the big hurry here in Mexico. That guy on the bus said, build a little, save a little money, buy a little more building.
What you mean?